Alright, hi everybody, and welcome. This will be a lesson on my use of artificial harmonics, sometimes referred to as harp harmonics. It's this little technique right here. So you may have seen me use it in some of my other videos, some of my solo guitar arrangements. It's something I've been fascinated by for quite some time, and it's a lot of fun to do. It adds a nice decorative element to your playing, and it makes people go, ooh, what's that? That's pretty cool. So I'm going to try to explain how I use it, where I got it from, and how you can take it, make it your own, and explore, incorporate it into your own playing. So I'd say it's an intermediate to advanced level thing. You're going to need to do quite a bit of barring and quite a bit of gripping with the left hand. So you're going to have a good bit of endurance. You're going to have a little bit of fingerstyle dexterity with your right hand. There's a couple different techniques, but for most of this video I'll be using a fingerstyle technique. And you're going to need to know the fretboard pretty well, because we're going to be looking at a lot of different areas. And for this particular technique, you actually kind of have to be focusing on two areas at the same time, because these are artificial harmonics at the octave, just like we have the natural open harmonics at the octave. When we bar or when we play fretted notes, we produce a note at the octave. So you're going to want to be able to kind of go through that and find those areas pretty quickly. But anybody can try it, and I'll do my best to explain, and hopefully you enjoy it and get something out of this. So whenever somebody does these harmonics, or whenever somebody talks about them, you know, just kind of the first name to come out of everybody's mouth, typically, if you're familiar with the style, is Lenny Breau. And I love Lenny. He's definitely a huge influence of mine. But he wasn't the first guy to really influence me and open my eyes to this particular technique. The first guy was a guy by the name of Jody Fisher, and he's on YouTube. Check him out. And if you click on one of his videos, probably the first thing you'll hear is something like this. He's got a little different technique than mine, but it's something like that. Just a really nice, bubbly passage of harmonics, and he's really great. He's really smooth. He's a solo jazz guitar player, and I remember first time I saw him was at a workshop when I was in high school, National Guitar Workshop. He came out on stage, sat down by himself, and just started, you know, and just filled the arena with this rich, you know, kind of notes going everywhere. It was really fascinating. Everybody was, you know, just amazed at how well he did it and how cool it was. And really great guy. I bought some of his albums. I still listen to him today. He's definitely a great solo guitar player, and he's certainly got his own little style there with the harmonics. He's very cool. He was really the first guy that I noticed, like, okay, now how does he do that? It was something I really wanted to learn. So yeah, Jody Fisher, another guy who's a big influence of mine, who I've done a video of his, Ted Greene, my Danny Boy video. He uses quite a bit of harmonics in his playing. He does kind of a lot of messing around. He comes up with some different things. It's very cool. He's got some unique shapes, and in my video, I tried to nail as much of the harmonics that were crucial to his arrangement as possible, and it's really cool. He's got some smaller shapes, kind of the movable little patterns like. Real different stuff, kind of fun to mess around with. And of course, he's got all the chords. He's the master. But yeah, Ted Greene incorporates the harmonics pretty prolifically. He uses them a lot. I think he's just got such a vast knowledge of everything and makes it sound easy. So Jody Fisher, Ted Greene, and then, as I mentioned before, Lenny Breau. Now Lenny, when I first heard Lenny, I got an album from my guitar instructor. He's real different. He's so smooth and so clever with these harmonics that you almost can't tell when he's using it and when he's not using it. He's got a lot of really rich harmonies that he beefs up with these harmonics. He's just got such a unique perspective on the guitar and all the possibilities that can come from it, and he's again he is really a true master. I've never heard anybody quite use the harmonics like Lenny does. It's just such a part of his playing, and he's so natural with it. It's very, very cool, very inspirational. So, and he uses them all the time, and again, people tend to associate this type of style, this kind of impressionistic, solo guitar style with the harmonics, with Lenny Breau. So check out Lenny, check out Ted Greene, Jody Fisher, to see where I'm coming from, and. Those guys continue to amaze me to this day. So let's get into the actual technique. So as I mentioned, they are octave harmonics, produced 12 frets from the origin. So like I said, we have the open octave harmonics at the 12th fret, and in this case, we're actually just going to bar our first finger at the 5th fret. So basically, when you bar, you shorten the neck, kind of like you use a capo. You shorten the neck. So now the octave harmonic moves up to the 17th fret, one octave higher. You can do this at any fret. I could do it at the 3rd fret. It'd be at the 15th fret. I could use the open strings if I wanted to, but the 5th fret is a pretty comfortable, accessible place to start. So we're going to bar our first finger at the 5th fret. We're going to take our right hand and kind of hover around the 17th fret where those harmonics are going to be. So we got our bar, we got our right hand ready to go, and right now I'm going to be using my ring finger, my first finger, and my thumb. And to start off, we are going to take the ring finger and we're going to pluck the D string, the 4th string, like so. So natural note to start off, ring finger on the D string. From there, we're going to take our first finger, we're going to lightly touch the 17th fret of the low E string, and we're going to pluck it with our thumb. So I have a natural note, ring finger, a artificial harmonic with the first finger and the thumb. Take a little bit of time to get that down. Plucking with the thumb and the first finger can be a little tricky at first, so just find that right angle, find the right spot to pluck on your thumb, find the right hand position, and make sure you get that. And then we're just going to do the same thing with 3 more sets of strings. So I started on the D string, skipped over to the low E string, pluck that artificial harmonic. Then we're going to go to the G string, pluck again with the ring finger, and then pluck the 17th fret artificial harmonic on the A string. So that's going to continue the pattern. Pluck the B string natural note, pluck the D string 17th fret artificial harmonic, and then pluck the high E string natural note, pluck the G string 17th fret artificial harmonic. So that's going to be, again, starting with a D string, natural note, artificial harmonic, natural note, artificial harmonic, natural note, artificial harmonic, natural note, artificial harmonic. So really it's a mix of, you know, natural fretted notes and artificial harmonics. It's not just you know, all harmonics like you know, strumming or anything like that. It's really you know, it's really a blend. And the trick is to make it all sound the same, you know, so people don't actually know you're using the harmonics unless they're watching you. The trick is to get it all smooth so that they all kind of sound like one thing. So again, natural, artificial, natural, artificial, natural, artificial, natural, artificial. Backwards, I'll start with the G string, then pluck the E string, and go in that order. So artificial, natural, artificial, natural, artificial, natural, artificial, natural. So that's the basic technique. Again, I'm using my fingers. I will try it with a pick here. In this case, I'll hold the pick with my middle finger and thumb, still generating the artificial harmonic with my first finger, and still plucking the natural notes with my ring finger. So. Now I've gone back and forth on this. Right now I'm settled on liking fingerstyle better, but I have had periods where I like the pick better. The problem with the pick is that it's a little harder to get the notes smooth. Kind of the harmonics tend to pop out, like, you know, it's a little too aggressive, and then the finger's not quite strong enough to match that. So right now I'm being careful. In the heat of the moment, in the heat of a performance, a little bit tough to control that. So just to be safe, most of the time, if I want to do this, I'll go with my fingers. The other thing about a pick is it kind of dictates how you're going to play the rest of the song. You know, if I want to play a song fingerstyle, but I want to use the harmonics with a pick, I'm kind of going to have to do one of these, you know, or hide the pick somehow. And I'm not great at that. I always drop it. Some people are really good at it, but I tend to just go with fingers or just go with a pick. So if I know I'm going to want to use the harmonics with a pick, I'll probably play the whole song with a pick, which Tenderly is one example. I play with a pick. I've always done it with a pick. That's just kind of the way it worked out. It works well with the harmonics in that case. Other cases, It just, you know, I want to have my fingers available for the entire song. So I want to be able to switch back and forth between chord playing and then I want to throw in the harmonics instead of having, like, you know, I have to worry about hiding the pick or, you know, switching back and forth. So that's just the pros and cons of a pick. You know, if you're a pick player through and through, then go ahead and use the technique with a pick. You can also try a thumb pick. I don't have any. I just don't play with thumb picks hardly ever. I have tried it once or twice. It does work. Again, you have to work on getting the sound even, but it's certainly another option if you're into that. And again, you just want to make sure you get the sound even. I don't play with a ton of nail. I like a softer, smoother sound, more with flesh. Not so much of the classical, you know, nails or anything like that. That's just me. So if you use a pick, just make sure you either compensate by controlling the harmonics, or if you want to try the nails, then go ahead. So let's talk a little bit about the actual notes we're playing here. So we've played this a bunch of times already. We've got the go back to fingers. We've got the bar at the 5th fret, and we're playing a mix of natural notes, artificial harmonics. So where have we heard that before? Every guitar player has played this at one point or another. So what is that? Well, if we take the notes and just play them all natural, we get this. A pentatonic scale. Just a simple A minor pentatonic scale. So really what we're actually doing is kind of playing scales or lines with the harmonics, and that's my main point. Is that's kind of what this is. It's kind of a chunk of a scale, as opposed to a chord. Typically, when we're barring, when we're gripping, you know, shapes, that's more associated with chordal playing. And it's certainly, you know, you can look at it as an arpeggio in some cases, or you can look at it as kind of just a big chord. But really, I think it's most accurately kind of a scale. Again, you can call it a lot of different things, but to me, in this case, it really is a pentatonic scale. So that's the idea to kind of get your head around. Is these are kind of scales. So and really what we have is just 6 different notes. So we have you know, the A, D, G, C, and E. Then we have another A, but it doesn't break a certain rule, which is that you can't create a unison when you do these harmonics. So this A and this A are far enough apart. The actual natural notes are 2 octaves apart. That's going to be okay. If I were to play like this chord, this is A minor bar chord. Pretty standard, you know, pretty standard shape. If I were to try to play that, and I started with the same pattern, I pluck the D string and then go to the artificial note on the low E string, it's the same pitch. So there you create a unison, which doesn't kind of give you that feeling of motion, or that kind of that harp effect. You're just playing the same note, so it doesn't quite work. And actually, the next couple of notes are the same as well, because I'll just go like, excuse me. The artificial harmonic on the A string and the natural note on the B string are also the same. The next two notes are also the same. I go through the artificial note on the D string, natural note on the high E string. So, which is okay if you're looking for that sound, but it's a little bit too. It's not quite what I like to do. And there you may have noticed that when I change the shape, instead of just a bar, I changed the fretted notes. I have to adjust my right hand. So now a couple of those notes are 2 frets higher because I put my ring finger and my pinky at the 7th fret. So those 2 notes are going to be now at the 19th fret. All the other ones are still going to be at the 17th fret. So really, you're just adjusting. You're creating the outline of this shape an octave higher. So, and that's actually a technique I see. It's kind of the a very low. I don't mean to say low level, but it's kind of a very simple way to play these harmonics. It's just that wasn't that great, but. Just kind of throwing some chimey little harmonics on top of a chord. I see a lot of people do that, and you can try that out too. Again, you're just matching the shape. But going back to the scale, again, we're not trying to create any unisons here, so. This bar works perfectly fine. Again, that A doesn't clash, doesn't create any unison with anything else, so we're fine if I were to, again, unisons. To me, that's just a much fuller sound. We get some different notes, different textures in there, as opposed to just a straight up chord. So again, 6 different notes. Now let's actually, for just to progress a little bit, let's change one note. So the easiest one to do will probably be that top note. Instead of this A at the 5th fret, I'm now going to put my pinky at the 7th fret, and now I have a B on there. So I really do have 6 different notes going on right now, and that's going to sound like this. If I play the natural notes, it's going to sound like this. So what is that? Well, I just changed one note. You could still call it an A minor pentatonic with like a 9 or a 2 or something like that. You can just call it A minor if you want. It's really, there's many ways to interpret this. There's many ways to look at it, but that's kind of the next step. Once you get the technique down, is finding the shapes that are indeed 6 different notes that aren't going to create any unisons, and kind of just tweaking things here and there to create some different harmonies. Another one I like, I'll change one more note. So I go from the one we just did, kind of an A minor 9, sort of shape. Now I'm going to take the the D string, I'm going to move that note up 1 fret. So I'm going to put my middle finger at the 6th fret of the D string, and I'm going to get this. So I threw in a G sharp there. And that's going to sound like this. Now I'm going to adjust my right hand to hit that new note. So I'm going to have to move that up 1 fret when I get there. So it's going to start off like this. That's a cool one. So what is that? Well, we just changed 1 more note, so it's gonna say I move the G up to a G sharp. If we're still thinking A minor here, you'd say, okay, that's a natural 7. So maybe harmonic minor, melodic minor, something like that. You need a little more context. You need to have a 6 in there. To really understand it, but it's it's a versatile shape. You can use it in some different places, but kind of an A. We'll call it a harmonic minor for right now. But that's just it. It's a shape, and I'm just kind of tweaking a few notes here to get some different harmonies. And that's where I really took off with this idea. I was like, oh, well, that's harmonic minor. What if I wanted to create, let's say a Lydian? Well, how do I do that? I got to add I'm at harmonic minor here. I got to add a major third. Got to make it major. Got to add a sharp 4. So I'm going to here's my 4th on the A string. I'm going to raise that up a bit, and then I'm going to make that a little bit easier. I'm just going to play. So this is 5th fret, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7. So 5th fret, 6th fret, 6th fret, 6th fret, 7, 7. Is this a chord shape I play, when I'm just playing regular? Sometimes, not really. So this is kind of a unique harmonic shape, but so, if I take those notes, let's see. Let's see here. I got my Lydian shape. So if you were to figure that out, you might say, well, why don't I try all the modes, and why don't I try all my scales? Like, how do I come up with that? And that's kind of what I took the time to do, is just figure out, okay, how can I get any sound from these shapes? And it's certainly it's all within a bar's reach, and it's kind of within a comfortable left-hand shape, most of them. There are some tough ones that, like certain modes, certain scales, that just don't quite work, but that's fine. There's other ways to play it, you can, say I want to play a D Lydian, so I'm thinking D major. If I try that Lydian shape all the way up here to D, again, I'm getting a little bit too high up on the fretboard, and I'm kind of running out of frets, and it's also just kind of starting to get out of that pleasant sounding range. So instead, what I might do is to do like a B Dorian or something like that, maybe like this. Maybe if I have a bass player playing a D, or if I'm tracking, I can lay down a D major 7 harmony or something like that. And then I don't have to worry about, you know, having a strong D bass or anything like that. I can just kind of play modally using harmonics. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you did enjoy it, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to talk about. If you like my method of explaining things, please feel free to drop a comment or shoot me an email and let me know what you'd like to hear. So thank you so much for watching this, and hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some good insight, and take care. I'll see you next time.